Morning show in Northwest Indiana. News, sports, education, and entertainment. Wake up, GI, with Jeffrey Smith. Brought to you by the Geary Community Schools Corporation.
All right, everybody, we're back. It's once again a beautiful Thursday. It's the 7th of September, 2023, and this is Wake Up, GI, with Jeffrey Smith. Once again, we want to give a shout out to Dr. Janet Seabrook. Once again, want to thank her for stopping by and providing us with information as well as having great conversation about medicine. But we're going to keep it moving because, of course, I get to talk to one of my favorite organizations. And as we talked about earlier, Dr. Vanessa Allen McLeod and her wonderful Legion of Ladies are always going to be down with making sure your scholar has some cash before he or she goes off to that next phase of their career, whether it be vocational or college. But they throw a big party with the college fair. I've been to a couple of them, so I see how they roll. But we got a young lady in here right now who is in studio letting us know what the Urban League is up to right now. And so I want her to go ahead and introduce herself. And I want to say, what's going on, Doc?
Good morning. My name is Dr. Beverly Lewis, and I'm here today to speak on behalf of the Urban League.
Yeah.
We're gearing up for our annual scholarship fair.
How did I know that?
Everybody should know that. So if you're just now hearing about it, then you need to spread the word. Let everybody know that our annual scholarship fair is going to be held at Indiana University Northwest.
Yes.
At the corner of 3400 and Broadway in Geary, Indiana. Now, the scholarship fair is for students all across Northwest Indiana, not just Lake County, but Lake Porter and LaPorte County. Yeah. We'll be having a number of colleges and universities and other non-college entities there. When I say non-college entities, like the armed forces will be there, cosmetology, trade schools. Because not everyone wants to go to a 4-year institution or even a 2-year institution. But they are interested in advancing themselves. So we want to provide a broad swath of educational opportunities and scholarship opportunities at the scholarship fair.
Yeah.
So the scholarship fair is happening on Tuesday, September the 26th.
Wow.
So it's coming up right around the corner. Today is already the 7th of
It
September.
is.
You don't have that much time to prepare. So we have our colleges, some of our colleges already confirmed. We want our students to prepare for the scholarship fair as if you were going not necessarily to get a job interview, but to get a job interview.
Yeah, why not?
So we want them to come prepared with their transcripts if they can bring them, their resumes and ACT or SAT scores if they're available, or if they know when they're going to take them. Sometimes the students don't know the steps that they need to take in order to prepare for college and for scholarships. So we want them to come prepared because scholarship monies are offered on the spot. Full rides are offered on the spot. So you can walk up to a particular college or university, and on that day we'll note which schools those are when the students and the chaperones get their guides, which schools are offering admission waivers, which schools are offering scholarships, which schools are offering full rides. We'll know that on that day, and the students will know that. So if they're looking for a particular institution, college or university, or they're looking for particular, monies, they know they want to go, then they can target that area and go to that particular school and that representative and talk to them on that day and get their admissions possibly waived, get scholarship money to go to that institution. So we're excited because this is a one-of-a-kind event that comes to Northwest Indiana. I don't know of any other organization that does
Not like
this.
you all. They don't do it like you all. No, I'm serious. I'm not just saying that because you're here. They don't do it like you all.
And so we're very invested in our community and in our students, so we want them to be present and we want them to be prepared in order to take full advantage of the scholarship opportunity.
Now, let me say this to you, Dr. Lewis, because you said something at the beginning, and I just kind of want to reiterate, because, sometimes I go off on my little rants on the show. People who listen know it. I call it my morning muses. But one of the things is that, when you were talking about as far as what the scholars need to do in order to kind of come and be prepared. Number one, when you're thinking about going to college and going to the next level, this is your career, this is your life. You should take it seriously. So I think you were right on point when you made it analogous to a job interview. And I just, I talk about this a lot of times with the Geary schools and a lot of the resources that they have. And this is just my soapbox, not yours. So I don't want to suck you in, but the Urban League does some very heavy lifting to go out here and solicit these schools to send their representatives here to Northwest Indiana, to IUN for a couple of hours, or some people are here for one day and then they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, these people are prepared to offer scholarships on the right there on the spot and things like that. So, you know, we got to stand on this show we adopted ever since Father's Day, and it's kind of like we don't embrace mediocrity anymore. We want people to live up to their potential because we believe people are capable of being great. And so, you know, I just want people to understand that it's not easy to put together these college fairs and have people like, you know, really significantly commit to it because they want to go where they feel they have the best opportunity of getting students. And so if you have these events and the students come in and they're not prepared, a lot of these people are going to kind of not try to come back. But you all have been very successful. And so I don't mind you going out there just trying to put it out there about how serious the scholars themselves as well as the parents of these scholars should take it, because this is a very big deal.
It is. And when you were talking about mediocrity, a lot of times too, when you think of the word scholar and you think of the word scholarship, oftentimes students who are not considered scholarship or scholar material, they shy away from these type of events.
Don't do that.
We don't want them to do that.
Right.
So we want all students to come because sometimes there are extenuating circumstances in which students have failed to get the grades that they needed to get at that particular time. And so we want all scholars, all students to come, whether you consider yourself a scholar or not, because you never know what opportunity may be available for you. And sometimes just having that experience will broaden the scholar's perspective and give them optimism and give them hope that, yes, I can do this. I can pull myself up. I can, you know, somebody's willing to work with me. Somebody's willing to offer me a scholarship. And so we want all students, regardless of your GPA. Of course, we want you, but most of the students who have excellent GPAs, they're going to get scholarships.
Exactly.
They're going to get opportunities. They know where to go to hunt for those. They know where to go to look for those. But we want to get all of our scholars. In higher education, they have something called the murky middle.
Right.
And those scholars that kind of are on the edge of the periphery. We don't want our students hanging in the murky middle. We want to bring all of them up to the status where they can reach their highest potential.
No, I'm going to play a little homer here because you bring up a good point. I mean, when you were talking about the date, you know, I'm starting to appreciate the fact that this is in September. And so if you are in that, quote, murky middle, I mean, I sit over here and every day, you know, when I'm doing weather and traffic and I talk about Geary Community Schools, I'm talking about the credit recovery program. This is the right time to go ahead and get your ducks in a row, okay? Because, you know, I mean, you're starting off, if you got some limitations, you got some things to make up, you've got a lot of flexibility than waiting to the end of the school year and not knowing what your roadmap looks like. So I think that you're absolutely right. This works hand in hand with some of the resources that are already out here in the community for some of the scholars that are in high school now.
Exactly. Yeah. And so we just want to encourage them to be prepared.
Yes.
Encourage them to come in expectancy that there is something good that's going to happen to them on that particular day.
Yeah.
We encourage the representatives that are coming from the schools to bring their scholars because we know sometimes they are already strapped too because of their commitments and caseload. But it's important, especially if the parents are unable to bring the scholars and the scholars are unable to get there themselves.
Right.
And so the Urban League does communicate to the various schools through email, through mail blast, through telephone calls, even calling to find out, you know, are you bringing your scholars this year? How many scholars are you bringing? And for Northwest Indiana, we have had in the last couple of years, we have had students come all the way from South Bend. For our scholarship fair.
Yeah.
So it's not that it's not intended for them, but the intention was for our Lake Porter and LaPorte County students. So if our students don't take advantage of it, there are students that are traveling whose representatives are bringing them to take advantage of this monumentous event. So I encourage students, parents, scholars, caregivers, grandparents, aunts, uncles. You might be somebody sitting in church and you see that young lady over there, that young man over there struggling, or the kid down the street, or your neighborhood, on your block. Listen, get them. There's no pre-registration.
Right.
Just come to the scholarship fair and see what is in store.
No, you know what was crazy? I remember like a couple of years ago I went, and at the time when I was there, it was kind of like an ebb and flow. And I was talking to some students, some scholars that were coming to you all's event, and a lot of them were for Porter County. I was just like, wow, you all got the outreach out there. I mean, they were coming.
Porter County is one of our service areas.
Yeah.
South Bend and St. Joseph's County.
Yeah.
And so that's not necessarily our service area, but they were there.
Exactly. We're talking with Dr. Lewis from the Urban League Northwest Indiana. Once again, we appreciate the work that she and, of course, the executive director, Dr. Vanessa Allen McLeod, and really the whole entire staff of Legion of people who work over there, that they do out here in our community, not just obviously with these scholarship fairs, but the other things that they do. I know it's a little early, but I always allude to your tax services and things like that that you do.
And we're looking for volunteers for tax services now.
Oh.
We're always looking
Great
for
minds think
volunteers.
alike.
Because tax season will be here before you know it.
Yes.
We don't start actually taking appointments until February or March, but we use that time between October and that time period to train our volunteers, because our volunteers are trained and are certified, so they have to go through training. They're just not people who have such a great desire to help the Urban League and we let you do taxes.
Exactly.
You have to go through some kind of training. You just can't walk around, what are the taxes? It does not work quite like that.
Exactly.
So we're always in need of people that want to or are interested in coming to work or to volunteer for the VITA tax program. And if you're interested in that, you need to speak to the tax supervisor. Her name is Miss Tersina Jones. Well, I put it this way. Just ask for Miss Jones. Call the Urban League and ask for Miss Jones. Ask for the lady with the T for the taxes. Somebody will get you to her. So ask for Miss Jones, and then she'll give you the protocol that you need in order to get it started for the taxes.
We're talking with the Urban League of Northwest Indiana, and the other day, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, immediately after the show, we do a wonderful kind of a syndicated show called In Black America, out of University of Texas at Austin. And one of the profiles of our latest one was Vernon Jordan. And I remember being a little boy. My mom was in the Urban League, and I just remember learning about Vernon Jordan. Of course, he got shot in Fort Wayne, but I remember him. He was like the first figure that I ever associated with the Urban League. Mm-hmm. And I was listening to him describe his service at the Urban League. And so if you can, I know we don't have a lot of time, but I know we see you all the time. I mean, Vanessa's got you all on blast. Every event I go to, somehow you all are on the placard, are partnering or sponsoring, and that is just absolutely amazing. But just like I asked the guy with the United Way, Andy, who I had on my show 2 weeks ago, I think sometimes people forget what you do and what your services are that you provide to the community. So if you don't mind, just go ahead and tell us.
Now, I didn't practice that this morning, Mr.
No, come on. You know what you do.
You know that.
You know what you do.
Look, I didn't practice the mission statement this
Don't
morning.
give me the mission statement. Tell me about some of your services.
Dr. B is going to have my head for this. But some of the services that we provide include financial literacy.
Yes. So
that includes the tax services. And sometimes we have people come in that provide other types of services as well that align with the tax services. Of course, education is a big thing for us.
It is.
We have, in addition to the scholarship fair, we also will open up our scholarship. So the Urban League serves as an administrator for persons who have scholarships through us.
Right.
Sometimes we do the marketing, sometimes they do the marketing, but we have a platform called Community Force where our scholarships are listed. There you'll be able to find the scholarships, who it's from, how much, and what the requirements are in order to apply for the scholarship.
Yes.
That's going to open up at the end of the year. And we have over 50 scholarships. Now, we're always looking for scholarship donors as well.
Yes.
People who want to donate, in their name, in the name of a loved one, just because. We are open to creating scholarships so that they'll be able to continue to help a young person in our communities.
Right.
So we're always looking for that. The scholarship application deadline usually opens sometime in late fall, December, and closes in the early part of the spring.
Right.
So students are welcome to apply to the scholarship, and they can apply to multiple scholarships. So that's why oftentimes at our scholarship luncheon, which usually happens in May, there'll be a student there. They'll walk out with $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, maybe even $5,000 in scholarships because they applied to a number of scholarships and they impressed those persons who were reviewing, and that's how they were able to get that much money.
Now, let me ask you this about the scholarships, because this is a question that I've had, and I remember watching some of my relatives kind of go through this. Do you all help pair scholars with specific scholarships? Because sometimes it gets overwhelming. You don't know, like certain scholarships sometimes are going after a specific type of person, or if a person is going to kind of get in this career, or if they are service oriented, or if they're this, if they're that. do you help their parents and the scholars navigate and find those? Because a lot of times you don't know where to go.
If they call the office or come to the office, yeah, we can go through and tell them. So, for instance, what I would do, I know that we have a number of scholarships that are geared for Gary Community School Corporation students only.
Yeah.
So, with those being the case, when I go to those schools, when I go to that school, then what I do is I tell them, now we have all of these scholarships, but I would like for you to focus on these scholarships first. So one is the Guthrie Scholarship.
Right.
Another one is the Morrow Scholarship. So it's the same thing with East Chicago. We have a particular donor who wants a student from East Chicago Central.
Right.
So I tell them, here's a list of scholarships, but I want you to apply for the Mary Morris Leonard Scholarship first.
Okay.
So yes, we do provide some of that support so that they're not completely overwhelmed by the whole scholarship process.
Okay, yeah, great. And I'm, shout out to my guys out there in LaPorte. Yeah, we didn't mention you. I'm just playing with my friends out in LaPorte. No, but I that was something though that we were really, really interested in because
so we have scholarships too that are, for certain areas of students that are going into. NIPSCO provides a number of scholarships, so they're looking for students that are going into the field of STEM, science, technology, engineering, math. So they're looking for those students who are interested in STEM.
Okay.
And leading to that, the college and career readiness program that we offer through Deb Black, who's the coordinator, goes into the schools to help the students start preparing for college, and they start those programs. I want to say 7th to 8th grade, 7th to 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, and so that's a program they can participate in all throughout.
Does that involve training for like the ACT and SATs and things like that?
There will be some training that will help them to do that. Soft skills such as communication, collaboration, networking, starting their own businesses. We've had a number of students start their businesses. They have had ideas and they've been able to use a prototype during the college career readiness program that they've gone through. So it has been beneficial in those areas as well. And so, so education is a huge thing for us. And then we have the Federation of Block Clubs. That's an auxiliary arm of
Explain that.
FOBC, the Federation of Block Clubs. It encourages neighbors to create a block club that will help them to keep their community free of blight, to beautify it, to be connected with their neighbors. Because as we know, as in our current culture, we are seemingly more connected than we've ever been, but we're also very disconnected than we've ever been.
Yes.
And so the Federation of Block Clubs stands as a way to keep the communities together and to help them come together to create an environment that's nice and a safe space. And to that end, we have a coordinator and we have a neighborhood specialist that will work and provide grants, possibly, if we have the money, to help you work and get your neighborhood clean. Then we have another
I like
auxiliary.
that. I grew up, my aunt and uncle lived on Noble Street, and so they had, the Noble Street Block Club was just insufferable, and I mean that in a nice way. But I'm talking about the way you couldn't play without somebody coming out saying, get off but the Block Club parties were absolutely amazing. I used to love going with my aunt, so I love Block Club. Sorry, that's my little HE double hockey stick I just shared with you. Go ahead.
And then we have another auxiliary of the Urban League, which is Young Professionals. And
I was about to bring that up. Amber is a good friend of ours who works with us here. She, you all sent them to Houston or something the other day.
Yes, Dr. B have to tell you about all of that.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know where they
Houston
went.
They had a good time.
Yeah, they did.
At the National Urban League Convention.
Right.
So the Young Professionals is a unit of the Urban League intended to inspire, educate, and prepare as a succession plan to pass the baton, because we know we won't always be here and we know we won't always be in a position to do the things that we do. So we want to have well-educated, excited, interested young people to work in our community so they can carry on the work of the Urban League.
No, you're preaching to the choir here, and I'm just going to issue a challenge, wink, wink, nod, nod, Steve Mays. But I think what you all are doing, I really do. I was telling Amber that, but I think that, this is my first time hearing about it. I don't know if this is how many years you've had the Young Professionals, but one of the things that is a running conversation, in particular in our communities, is that we have a lot of talented young people who go away, and most people want to come back to their hometowns, to be honest with you. Sometimes you fall in love, you get a good job, you end up having a family somewhere else, and you just go where you got to go. But most people sniff around their hometown. And unfortunately for us, we've had young people that have sniffed around our hometown, but there was no spots for them. And so they've gone elsewhere, and we've been denied talent because of it. And we've had people, and it's always been this impression, and this is a real conversation, so I'm not saying anything out of turn, is that, you know, some of the people will not give up the wheel.
Or even share the knowledge.
Thank
so
you.
That you
Shadow or mentor.
Collaborate, mentor those students or those persons into the next generation of success. Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay,
totally.
yeah. So something like this, when I heard about it, it really got my ears perked up. Because I only remember, I remember something kind of happening in the Karen Freeman Wilson administration where she had kind of like a junior government where there was an opportunity for some of these young scholars to at least see what was going on and maybe come back and get in civics. But I think that this, from what Amber was describing, and I met one of her other participants who was in there, and when she was describing, this is pretty involved, and they're excited about it, these young people. And so I think this is something when people come on the other end of it, they're going to be ready to go out here and contribute.
Yeah, and we want that because that's the only way the city is going to be able to survive and continue is if we have a cadre of young people who are willing to take the baton and continue to keep, because we're going to always need these services,
right? And
they may evolve depending on the population and the demographics, but we need people who have the skills and have the knowledge and have the wisdom and has seen it in operation every day.
Right.
So they know what it takes, because a lot of times you may have the zeal to do something, but you really don't know the commitment that it takes in order for it to get done. But when you can work side by side with somebody and see that in a day-to-day, everyday application, it gives you a better idea of what you can expect.
Well, we definitely appreciate that. Once again, I want you to give the scholarship information. We're up against it 26 minutes after the hour, but go ahead, please.
Urban League of Northwest Indiana, the scholarship is going fair. It's going to be on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday, September 26, 2023, starting at 9 o'clock a.m. to 12 o'clock p.m. If you need to register your school or your students or your scholars, please call the office at 219-887-9621. That's 219-887-9621. Someone is in the office Monday to Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the office is closed, but you can leave a voicemail and we will return your call. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, you got a website?
We have a website, www.ulofnwi.org. That's www.ulofnwi.org.
Absolutely. We appreciate you right there. That was good stuff right there. Once again, always a pleasure to talk with the Gary Urban League. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're not done here. We're going to talk Alzheimer's.